Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. So I had a very interesting question related with mealybugs. Where do mealybugs come from? Now I know a lot of people might say that I never have any kind of pest or bugs in my garden, but all of a sudden I happen to notice them. Now there could be various reasons. I was kind of doing a little bit of research because I was curious myself to understand where do they come from. Now, of course, I live on the fifth floor. It's an open space, and I already had plants in my previous house from where I had shifted them. So most probably they might have come in from there because in my previous house it was on the floor level, basically on the ground floor. So there were other gardens as well, especially there was a plant, hibiscus, and that is the plant that usually tends to get affected with a lot of mealybugs. And if it's not taken care, the infestation can increase drastically, and I'm sure a lot of these mealybugs might have come from there. And then when I shifted over here, of course on the fifth floor it is very difficult for any kind of bugs to come in, especially mealybugs or aphids, but they had already come in because few of the plants were already infested. And unfortunately, when the shifting was happening, I wasn't around, I was out of town, and there was no proper isolation or quarantine method that was conducted, and everything was mixed in together. So of course I can understand that they might have come in from the previous plants. Now ideally, or I would say 80% of the time in my experience, what I have noticed is mealybugs will come in when you tend to purchase new plants. Either it can be online, or if you have purchased plants from your local nursery. Now this is something that I've noticed because I do visit a lot of local nurseries, and I've seen that some of the plants are infested or heavily infested with bugs, not only mealybugs, aphids and scale insects as well. Now unfortunately, they do not take that good care of plants, especially if it's a very small local nursery, because the plants are in such a large number. They definitely cannot individually check on each and every plant. So what they do is they collectively spray insecticide or probably pesticide or fungicide on all of the plants in one go. Now, because it is done so randomly, whether the spray has been effective, whether the insects are dead, or whether the fungus has been taken care, that is not being checked. Apart from that, in some of the nurseries, they won't even do this. Probably if they find that the plant is extremely infested, they might just trash it off. They are not even going to spend that time in order to spray or to take care of it, like how we usually tend to do it. We tend to take extreme good care of our plants. We tend to check our plants on regular basis, but that's not the same case with them. So 80% of the time in my experience, what I've seen is mealybugs will come in when you tend to purchase your new plant. So it's always better to isolate and quarantine them. Keep them away from your existing collection for at least a month, because that is where you will get a fair idea. Apart from that, this is something that I've read online. Aphids can definitely fly. They can fly from one plant to another. Mealybugs, as per the information, the male mealybugs can definitely fly. But if they are not able to fly, they can easily get carried away with breeze, with strong wind. They can pass from one plant to another. Now these mealybugs can even attach themselves onto other animals. If you have pets around, they can even stick to the fur of your pets, or they can even get carried by the birds as well. A lot of times the birds come and sit into the plants. These mealybugs can attach themselves onto the birds. So you have breeze, you have new plants that are incoming, you have animals. All of these can spread mealybugs without the mealybug itself moving around. Apart from that, they have a very great friend, and that is ants. Ants are the biggest carrier of mealybugs. They have this kind of a collab wherein the ants will transfer or move the mealybugs from one plant to another, and in return the mealybugs, they tend to give this secretion which is like honeydew to the ants. So they tend to work hand in hand. So if you want to take care of things, or if you want to minimize the issue of mealybugs, now they cannot, or there isn't a solution which can completely eradicate mealybugs. There will be somewhere hiding from out of your sight, and only when the infestation or when they tend to multiply is when they are visible. So all you can do is just be cautious, do a visual check once in 2 weeks, once in 3 weeks. You can put in some cinnamon powder on the upper layer of soil, or you can mix it in water and give it to your succulents. Try to keep the organic matter, or try to keep the nutrients level a little bit lean in the soil, and things will start to work out really well. Most importantly, when you are getting new plants, ensure that you are kind of making a quarantine area, or probably a place wherein these plants can be isolated for a short duration of time and they do not come in contact with your existing collection. This is something that I have been following and it has been working out really well. Of course, when there are blooms, when there are flowers on succulents, aphids and mealybugs will end up some way or the other. Again, over here, as a caution, what I tend to do it, or as a precaution, what I tend to do is I cut off the blooms. I don't let the bloom stay for long, because the longer the bloom tends to stay, I have noticed that the number of mealybugs and aphids also tend to increase. But again, there are some exceptions. Some of my succulents that do not get affected with aphids or mealybugs, even if there is a bloom. If I happen to see such a case, I leave the bloom as it is, probably to collect seeds like I spoke in my last video. But the moment I see even one mealybug on a particular bloom stalk, I immediately cut it off and just discard the bloom stalk. So that was all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep propagating.